What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Clubrooms, the members show. Sorry, guys, I just bashed my freaking mic stand. Hopefully, that didn't pick up on the old audio. But guys, welcome back to the Clubrooms. All members only chat tonight. So all the members that get their hard-earned cash they pay for to support our channel, they get to ask all their questions in the chat. Right next to us, we'll work through with each other. We'll talk about all the hottest topics and stuff, and just get all your questions out of the way, because obviously when we do our other shows, it does get pretty cramped up in that chat. So this is your time to shine. Our members out there, we do appreciate all the support as always. And guys, if you do want to become a member, make sure you follow the links down below. You hit the join button and continue that on. No pressure. You also get, obviously, tomorrow night, we got All You Can Eat Warriors for all you guys that are just subscribers that do the free version. Obviously, you get to jump into the chat there always. But we do appreciate all our members. We do appreciate all our subscribers as always. If you enjoy the content, as always too, guys, it is free to subscribe. Like and subscribe and share us around with your friends. But good to see the chat here, jumping in early. Tans, what's happening? What's happening? And Josh, what's happening, brother? What's up? Game week again. Excited. Let's go. I know, game week. I'm really, really excited to see what we have in store for a massive game here against the Melbourne Storm coming up this week again. So I'm really, really excited, obviously, to do that game. I think me and Levon are doing the live stream on Sunday. I think it's the early game on the Sunday, which is a real interesting time slot for us. We don't get too many Sunday, I think the first time slot there, so it's going to be real interesting. But guys, members, jump in the chat. Ask all your questions away. Not too much to touch on. We can obviously touch on our Jersey Flag side getting the first win of the season against the Silk Tails over in Fiji. A very good effort there from the boys. Got to catch the later end part of that game, and then having to rewatch it to really catch up for you guys. Then also our SG Ball boys, unfortunately, copping their second loss of the weekend just before the finals. SG Ball got dominated, and the Harold Mats boys were the ones that got the second loss coming into the finals. SG Ball, unfortunately, missing out on the finals this year, but the Howard Mats boys obviously absolutely killing it under TJ, absolutely killing as a coach there for our Howard Mats boys, and consecutive years in our finals. Hopefully we can come home with a number of premiership in the Harold Mats as well. So we will touch on a little bit of that. We'll touch on a little bit of the upcoming matchup against the Melbourne Storm, my thoughts on that before we go over to obviously Tuesday night, tomorrow night, where we see our team list and we go through that with you guys. No Levon on this week from memory. He's got a couple of gigs. So guys, if you're in the WhatsApp chat, I'm pretty sure that's the first graders members part, where you get in our WhatsApp chat where we just chat with our members and all that, and we just have some fun, just like in-game thoughts, whatever's happening out there in rugby league. You know, everyone's lovely in that chat and just everyone goes crazy. So yeah, obviously I'm pretty sure everyone would have saw the video of Levon doing the saxophone stuff. I think he's doing a little bit more gigs and stuff, which is amazing to see. He's ultra talented in every aspect of his life, Levon, and I do appreciate the time that he gives me on the channel as well. Toilet Inspector, what's happening? What's happening? And also, too, guys, I do apologise for a little bit of an earlier stream. Again, over here in Queensland, I'm an Aussie-based New Zealand Warriors fan in Queensland. We don't have daylight savings over here. If I was in Sydney, I would understand where you guys are coming from, and I'm pretty sure in New Zealand you guys have daylight savings. That's why all our live streams have been, 5 p.m. in my time, which would be 7 p.m. your time, but now I think that ends up being, whatever it ends up being now, it's 8 p.m. So I do apologize for the early start. I might be doing an early start tomorrow as well. It just fits a little bit better for my time slot currently right now. So guys, just keep an eye out on that as well. So I'll let the chat filter in. It's good to get the footy week back up and rolling. Hey, Melbourne Storm coming up this weekend. I saw all the stuff Joey John saying that we are the bogey team for the Melbourne Storm. We haven't been the bogey side for the Melbourne Storm for a little while. In the finals we have, but yeah, it's been a little bit of a time before we've knocked over the Melbourne Storm. We've had moments where we've gotten close, but unfortunately not the cigar. And it's always a really good matchup coming against those guys. Don't be shy, guys. Jump in whenever you're ready. I may as well touch on the Jersey Flegg game over the weekend. So a really tough game against the Fiji Silktails. A really talented little outfit. The Silktails, are pretty sure they were a mid-table side. Our Flegg side had definitely a slower start to the season, but now back-to-back great performances there. I think we drew last week, but we showed a lot of improvement. It's great to see that Jet Cleary is starting to really find his feet with our side at the moment. He's really controlling the side very well, and now getting a really good win over the Silktails, where both Jet was really, really good, but I thought Luke Hansen looked like he was a step above everyone else. He was just breaking tackles for fun and laying on that last try for Kama down the sideline, breaking a couple of tackles, that big offload that he had to Kama coming away with a double in this game as well. Really, really talented winger that we've had. He played SG ball for us last year from memory. Have been keeping an eye on him a little bit. Raphael Seo getting over as well. Jackson Kite looks like a good little player that we have at the moment. I wouldn't say little, a decent size edge back rower. It's got some good movement to him. But the guy that I'm really loving at the moment in this Jersey Flegg side, Sio Carly's looking incredible as well, guys, before I touch on this other bloke. But Sio Carly, bro, just tackle break machine. The guy I've been really loving at the moment is Jason Salalilo. The number 13 that we have in Jersey Flegg, looks like a really top talent. I'm very excited to see what more he can produce. I've heard rumors of him. I'm pretty sure that me and Rory Holick were talking, and he said that he was training in and around their first grade squad this year. So definitely more to come from him. He's a guy that has a bleach blonde mohawk looking hair. Looks like a little William Mikiko. But really, really talented junior that we have there playing in that 13 jersey. Really strong, good footy IQ. I just love the effort that he plays with, and he was a real solid member in this win against the Fiji Silktails. Fiji ended up getting to a 12-0 lead at halftime, and we brought it all the way back to win 28-18. So a really, really good one there. Shen, what's happening, bro? What's happening? Tons in the chat as well. I've got Storm Trums. Yeah, I know. Trust me. Total Inspector, I'm worried about this game. I loaded my super coach with Storm. Why would you do that? I completely understand, bro. I'm really excited to see if the boys are up for this challenge. Obviously, I still think that we're fairly underrated in this competition right now. I think people don't really know where to sit with us. Obviously we started the season fairly well, but to be fair to a lot of things, we've beaten a Manly side that was running red hot before they came to us. They didn't have their best performance against us, but I thought we played some good footy there too. But the other performances there, obviously the back-to-back wins after that, the Tigers side that were running red hot, and a Rooster side that came off of a big win over the Penrith Panthers. So in context, it sounds very good, but I think a lot of people in the competition are really just trying to figure out where the Warriors sit. We'd been doing that mainly through grunt, determination, and just steeliness, not towards more so of our flamboyant sort of style that everyone wants to see us. But I continue to say to people, I don't think we'll be that flamboyant side. If anyone's watching the doggies at the moment, the way they're playing football, they're not looking absolutely incredible, but they're just bashing teams to a pulp. That's exactly the envisionment of what we're trying to do over here, and it's been like this since 2023 under Andrew Webster. Anyway, everyone always was remembering that right side shift that we always had. In that exact same year in 2023, we were only scoring at a 22 point per game click. Not even close to what I think the Melbourne Storm and all that posted up that year, or the Brisbane Broncos from memory. So that's not a really high click. We've always been a really good defensive side in 2023. 2024, obviously, that blew out a little bit, and that's where we found a lot of close losses. It's good to see we're getting a lot of close wins at the moment, doing very similar things to what Melbourne Storm did last year to start the season, where they were just picking up real close wins, where a lot of people would be like they weren't the better team in the contest, whether, you could definitely argue that, especially statistically. But yeah, it's good to see the boys are running red hot. But yeah, shout out to the Jersey Flake side. Good win, 28-18 over the Silk Tails as well. Jump back to the chat. The Toilet Spectre, the game where both teams were wearing the same colours was difficult to watch. I'm trying to think of what game that was over the weekend. Come back with me on that one. I'm trying to think of what game that was. Yeah, I'm not too sure, brother. Joshua Hill, can't stay very long, but I'm out. Good to see you, my bro. Thank you so much for coming through, man. If you're free tomorrow night, Josh, there might be a spot for you if you want to jump on some all-you-can-eats as well. So feel free to ask. Hit us up. I'll get you on, brother. I've been meaning to ask you too. Tool Inspector, who could only tell who the Warriors were in the Fiji. Oh, okay. Now I know who you're on, bro. I know exactly what you meant. Yeah, the Silk Towers and the Warriors. Yeah, because we ran over there with our white kit, and obviously their white kit predominant as well. I think they're white and blue. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know what you mean now. I was thinking of NRL games. I was like, what NRL game were you talking about this weekend? But now I understand what you're talking about, brother. Shen, man, if we could turn up for this game and get the 2 points, we'd put some silence to all the talks behind us, not looking like a top 8 side. Yeah, that's exactly right, Shen. And that's the thing, is like my whole envisionment for this year was just to fight for the top 8 and try to scrape into a top 8 spot. Obviously, we'd love to see a premiership. Obviously, we'd love to see a top 4 finish. But I think that like with what we're trying to build at the moment, where we have losing Sean Johnson, Taihu Harris, Adam Fanor-Blake, a lot of big losses for the offseason. Now Dylan Walker. There's a lot of talk like Jazz Tavanga, that we would be fighting for a top 8 spot. And that's where I kind of sat us this season. I think we were good enough to get into a top 8 spot. And we're showing really good signs at the moment, but there's still a lot to go with. And as anyone that's been watching rugby league for this season, anything can happen on its day. I still believe that we can take it to the Melbourne Storm. It's just going to be a tough ask, man. If you're going off history, if you're going off how the Melbourne Storm are looking this year, it's going to be a real tough test over in Melbourne as well. But I'm sure if the boys play with the steel that we have been and just hold into a contest, it reminds me of 2023 Warriors, where I'm happy to go into a game now and look at it like, I know the boys will turn up and they'll fight hard for us, just whether the result lands our way or not. So I'm really excited to see the test here and see where the boys sit in this game. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Joshy, stop it. Yep. Thank you, brother. Come on, bro. Come on. Really excited. Obviously, I'd love to see Team List Tuesday as always. Tahi, bro, thank you so much. Yeah, guys, make sure you hit the like button if you enjoy the content. And guys, also, as I continue to say, if you want to become a member, join down below. We're not pushing anyone towards it, but you do get like little features like this where we get our members Mondays, the club rooms, where you guys get to ask all your questions and stuff like that. I didn't even put our little, yeah. How about that? There you go. Put that up in the corner. Hope you guys like that. Tool Inspector, I know I've got Storm players on my side, but if the Warriors win, my super coach flopping will be worth it. Yeah, that's 100%. Obviously there's a lot of people out there that bet against their side. So, that whole thought as well is like, well, if my team loses, like I get money. If my team wins, I get pride. There's some people out there that are like that for sure. Tons, okay, Ash, do you think we can win this one, or do you think we have to, if so, what do we have to do to do it? Yeah, I think we have the ability to do so. Just take a couple of weeks back, the Dragons going up against the Melbourne Storm. I think we just got to come in there with a whole lot of intensity. I think if Webby can really speak to the boys and be like, listen, boys, it's been a long time since we've beat Melbourne. We've shown last year with a lot of teams that we have been beaten by in 2023. We actually came up against those sides with a little bit more of a steely edge, and we played really hard footy against them. Like from memory, the Melbourne Storm game, the first one, that was a really tight one, as we all know, obviously the heartbreak at the end of it. But, we beat the Penrith Panthers that year in Magic Round, where we were down on a lot of troops, and we played really hard in that game. And even little games like, him going up against Serraldo or the Dogs, you can tell the boys get up for those sort of occasions. So it shows that Webby does like get the boys up for certain occasions as well, where he can really talk them into playing some really high quality real high energy type footy. I think that's what we got to do against Melbourne. If Webby comes in and be like, listen, boys, like we haven't beaten them since like, what, 2017, 2016 now? It's been even longer than that, maybe. I'm trying to think of when the last time we beaten them, but it's been a long time. Obviously, it was a big point that got obviously spoken about last year when we lost to Melbourne back-to-back times, where Webby had to come out and said each year's a new year. Like, we can't, just put all the losses of the Melbourne Storm against like the side that's happening right now, right? And it's exactly the same thing. It's like this side that we have right now, they haven't lost to Melbourne 15 times in a row. They've lost to Melbourne probably once or twice over their time being together, right? So I'm sure that he will definitely bring a point to those boys to really step up. And if we play the game plan that we play, we have the ability to beat the Melbourne Storm. Just theoretically, like high footy IQ type of football, right? Where you want to trap a team down the opposite end of the field. We do that really well. Statistically, we're one of the better sides at doing that. We're one of the better sides at territory. If you go to Fox League, you see every week that we win our opposition 20 stats. So we find our way down the opposite end of the field and we limit sides getting into our 20 majority of the time. So we're very good at those aspects of the game. There's obviously aspects that we need to clean up on. There's line break areas that obviously teams, when they find a little bit of flamboyant footy getting down our edges, sometimes they can find line breaks through us and stuff. But as long as we can try to make Melbourne try to attack from their own end, and try to force errors that way, which is exactly how a defensive system is supposed to work, and it has been working for the start of the season. There could be errors. We can turn Melbourne around and put them against their line and just continue to pepper them at their line, and death by 1,000 cuts is exactly how the Doggies play. If you watch the Dogs over the Newcastle Knights last night, it's very similar to the way that we play football, but at the moment, they're a whole season into their system with exactly the same side. That's exactly what we want to be maybe next year or years to come, right? They're playing with a lot more high intensity now where they believe in that system. I think we're still trying to instill that belief after what happened last year. So if we play that brand of footy, I think that we can beat the Melbourne Storm. But coming into this game, Melbourne should be favourites, right? They're the better side on paper. They're the better side in form from memory. Statistically, in areas, they do have ability. They got strike players like Munster, Papenhuyzen. So it's going to be a tough test. I'm not delusional at all. But I think we have the ability to beat these guys. I really do. If we play our best footy on the day, I think we can. Warriors Forever, do you reckon Rocco comes back in this week despite how good Gossi was versus Tigers? He's due back this round. I do think so, brother. I think that Gossi can... I think Gossi was really good for that 1 week play that we had against the Tigers, but I think with Rocco back and we can push Bompy to the wing until obviously Roger or Dallin come back, which is late. Obviously Dallin's I think round 10 from memory. So I think that Rocco should come back into the lineup. That's the way I would hope to see it. Because obviously I love Rocco, what he brings to our side, especially, against the Melbourne Storm last year. We would remember, I think we were without Rocco in the second game last year, but the first game last year, his kick chase put like Xavier Coates under a lot of pressure. And we found a lot of errors in the Melbourne Storm's back three in that game, which end up pinning him down the opposite end of the field. So I think that he's vital in those moments, and I'd really love to see him in that side. So for me, I'd love to see him, bro. I do think that we're going to see him. Rumor-wise, I haven't heard anything out of the squad or whatever's going on. But, for the club to put him out as round 6, he's returning. I think there's a probably strong chance that he comes back into the lineup and, jumps into that right-hand centre spot. TJ17, thank you so much for becoming a member, brother. Obviously, open up. You can jump into the chat as here. Try it out, obviously. Hopefully, you can jump in the chat and have a chat with all of us. But thank you so much for becoming a member, bro. All the perks, depending on what membership you have. I can't tell right now being on StreamYard, but I'm sure Levon will end up following up on you. If you got the first graders, you do jump into the WhatsApp chat with us. So feel free to jump in. If you have already been a member too, brother, thank you so much for renewing. It doesn't tell you if you renewed or not, but thank you so much for coming through. Tons, what's the Storm weaknesses in your opinion? I think it's obviously their strength is their biggest weakness for me, is like the way they're using their football at the moment. They're very much an attacking football side now, which is so far different to what Melbourne were used to be known by, right? Melbourne, I think that they will still be a very good defensive side, right? That's a big thing on them. But I think they are leaking a little bit more points than years past. Just from memory, obviously the Manly Sea Eagles in that game late end up bringing back 24 points on them. And then going back to their other performances that they've had this year, the Parramatta Eels end up getting 18 points with a big 56 point slacking. The Penrith Panthers got 24 points on them with the 30-point win that they had there. 14-8. So you can score points on the Melbourne Storm if you continue to hold pressure. I think if you're talking about individual places to attack them overall, I think that teams have found a lot of success, obviously with Jason Saab's side, which was their right hand, so the left-hand side of the Melbourne Storm. So I think that's Jerome Hughes, Eli Katoa, and on that side, I think that's where Jack Howarth is posted up at the moment. I think you can find a lot of success on that side. There's obviously been a lot of thought around Jack Howarth's defensive knowledge in moments as well. I think even the Cheese is pretty open about that. Sometimes he can get caught up, and that's the reason why he was slow to get into first grade. So I think we can attack down that side, which would be our right edge. Ali Leotoa, if he was to stay down that edge, would be a guy that I would love to attack through, obviously Jack Howarth and that, and trying to catch him in two minds. Tane Tuapiki as well. And then just off the top of their head, their forward pack's playing really good footy at the moment, but I do believe that if our forward pack is to find a steel edge where what we have been doing to limit them down the opposite end of the field, they will force the pass a little bit, and they do have errors in their game. That's where I think we can attack them. So it's very similar to, as like they're pretty much a little bit more well-oiled Manly Seagulls for me at the moment. Just watching them, they are willing to shift a long shift to play tramline. So they play tramline to tramline. They don't usually like to punch in within the middle corridor. They like to really expand and play expansive footy, and with that becomes errors into the game. If anyone messes up their lines, if our inside front row forwards shut down on their time, we should be able to find some really good success there as well. This is a lot easier said than done. And saying about this with Melbourne Storm, the weakness is very, very small. Like Craig Bellamy has the side humming and like looking incredible, and we're saying all these things. Like Melbourne are very, very tight, and they're trying to attack on our areas where we need to fix up on. But I'm sure that if the boys come in with a whole lot of energy and just want to win, I'm sure that we can find a way to come away with the Chockies here. Again, a lot easier said than done. But yeah. Warriors forever. I think we're definitely missing Rocco's kick chase. Will be even more crucial against Melbourne Storm. Yeah, and that's the whole thing too. A lot of people been questioning our halves to start the season, and I think their kicking game's been fairly solid to start the season, especially their cage kicks or box kicks, whatever people like to call them these days. Back in the day, we used to call them cage kicks. So, you kicks into the corner and you get your defensive line in shape, and you want to cage them into the corner. You want to bring them out of their own end. So Rocco's really good at making kicks that probably aren't the most incredible. They don't have the most airtime, but making those look a lot better because his kick chase is incredible. It's very similar to what Viliami Kickout does for the Doggies, especially under Matt Burton's boot. It just makes a not say ordinary kick, but an okay cage kick look so much better when you have that kick chase to go through there, make that first contact, and just get our defensive sets rolling. So we saw that again, like everyone that watches this channel, everyone that watches Rocco Berry, they know that's what he does really well. He does all the 1%ers really well. So would love to have him back in our lineup, and it's a vital matchup to have him back in if he's fit and firing, ready to go, is against the Melbourne Storm, because these are where the effort areas really do shine. And if we're able to do so, like we saw the Penrith Panthers take it to him when they went without Cleary, a lot of injuries in their lineup as well. There is ways you can get at the Melbourne Storm. You just got to really go at them and really take it to them and not give them so much respect. But it's easier said than done, as I continue to say. Willis T, their bench, in your opinion. Yeah, there's positives and negatives to their bench. Like Alec McDonald's a really solid member for them. He's been playing fairly good footy off the bench for me, showing a little bit of impact there for the middle. Gets their line speed really up and ready. Tui Kamakamitha, who sometimes get a starting role, so whether it's Stefano and him, but obviously he's been coming off the bench the last couple of weeks. Then you got obviously Bronson Garlick that can fill in that lock to number 9 position. You got Lazarus Vaalipu as well, that sometimes finds himself on the bench as well. So bench-wise, solid members, but just Melbourne always get the best out of their players, right? So it's easier said than done to say weaknesses, but there's definitely food for thought there, right? And if you can get Munster, if you can get their key members out of the game, Papenhausen, which is, again, I'm going to repeat myself, easier said than done, you're able to find some success against Melbourne. As a great field girl said, to beat the Melbourne Storm, you need to score points. It's always a good rule of thumb. It's a great rule of thumb, that. Tell you, bro, from the last game, what area will they most likely attack? The way Melbourne like to attack at the moment, the shape that I love watching them attack on, is they love to hit their edge back rollers early on that on that outside line. So they'll run a beautiful outline on the half and try to get that half and edge back roller to really cover in on them. And they'll have that late offload. Tahi, you would probably remember it, and everyone in the Warriors chat, remember it last year. We got done on it twice from memory on both sides, I'm pretty sure. One side, Ellie Katoa, pop back into Ryan Pappenhausen. The opposite side, Sean Bloor, pop back inside to Ryan Pappenhausen. Another team that usually does that really well is the St. George Illawarra Dragons. They used to do that really well off the back of RFM, Jaden Sewer, and they got Luciano Leilua at the moment, which I don't see him do it too much with Luch, but he has the ability to do so, and I'd love to see him do a little bit more. So you'd probably see Munster give an early ball there to Sean Bloor, and you'll see obviously that late sweep that cuts back on the inside of that edge back roll where he pops an inside ball back to Ryan Pappenhausen. So they love to play on their edges. They love to create numbers on that edge. And then when they see that there's an opportunity that, like in those moments where the edge back roll is giving a little bit too much respect for that area, you got Munster to worry about. We saw over the weekend his try came off of the back of, Sean Bloor creating a little bit of an over number on that side from memory. And then we saw, Munster go left foot on Ola Kawatu and that and find space back in behind the ruck. I think we're very good defensively on the inside. We usually do really good inside cover. It really depends on, obviously Fish, what he brings to the club and, just continue to lock in with our edges and tie in. That's how you stop those sort of movements. But that's usually how that's my favorite way I like to watch Melbourne attack. They love to attack down their edges. They love to attack like their tram lines. And that's really where we need to lock in on is definitely edge back rollers are going to be on full show. And they love to attack down those sides. And as we know, sometimes our edge back rollers can have some real poor defensive lapses in moments. So hopefully the boys are cued in on there. T Mackie, do we need a 14 this week or just go big boppers on our bench? If it is a 14, is it Tomato Martin, Healy, or Lussick? I can see both sort of areas working in this game. It really depends on. I honestly, off the top of my head, I can't really think of how we're going to attack it that way, whether we do want to have that rotation. I think Wade Egan's doing a really solid job there out for the 80 minutes and not getting his head caught in bad positions. But I love the reassurance of having like a hooker on the bench, like a Healy in that can really give like Wade Egan a little bit of a spell. He's a big enough body. I don't know whether we didn't run him last week because he was just returning off of a shoulder injury, whether that was too much food for thought there and whether Bunty will hold on to that spot. I thought Bunty had some decent moments in that game to give a little bit of more trust for Webby to run with that lineup again. So that's another thought off the top of my head. If you want my preference, I would love to have a 14, and my 14 would be Sam Healy. I think Tamaite would be a little bit more wasted there because I don't see us shifting our halves and stuff because we want to build combinations there. And I don't think people give enough credit to how much time it takes to build combinations and how switching around combinations just breaks up those moments and will look a little bit more clunky than what we have already. Tamaite, for me, I don't like seeing him in a 13 role. If he ever has played that role, I don't think he ever has. Fullback, you could probably chuck him in a fullback, but then again, you're messing with our spine a little bit. He's got the ability to do so. It's just more of the fact of I think Healy's a bigger body, plays a little bit better in the 9 jersey, of course, because he is a 9. The running game, his footy IQ, and as I said, with a bigger body, he has the ability to maybe play in that 13 jersey. The last little smoky that you have there is Lussick, and as you guys know, Lussick has been playing a lot of prop 13 hooker in New South Wales Cup, with Healy having that rotational piece there too. So interesting to see if that's maybe what they were warming him up for, whether he was going to become that player. But there was a lot of rumors on Lussick that he wanted to go. So I'm not too sure really the whole, whatever's going on there, but there is food for that thought too. But in my opinion, I'd love to go Healy in that situation. Even though I thought that Bunty Afar had a really good game, I'd go Healy and the big boppers that we got now and just trusting our young boys. Tall Spectre, hopefully Puppy's hemi starts to hurt early. Yeah, obviously I don't want to wish too much. I know you're probably not doing this either, but I don't want to wish too much pain on Pappenhausen. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries and stuff throughout his whole career, but if he definitely is a little bit sore, rest him. Timmy, I do think the Storm are going to go after Egan in this game. There definitely is food for thought there. I think that the way that, yeah, there's definitely ability there because of the quick play to ball speed. Their ruck speed's incredible at the moment. Sean Johnson's obviously been pointing that out as much as he can because that obviously gets Harry Grant into the game, and he's had some really good performances without being incredible for Supercoach. So shout out to Harry Grant and my Supercoach side. But yeah, there's definitely food for that thought. I think that with Bunty there, again, yeah, we put him obviously on an island. He's got to play the full 80. With Healy, as we probably just touched on, I see you had in a chat, you'd agree with Healy. Like, he obviously gives him that spell, and he has the ability to just, rest up for the little period. But Healy is still raw, still very young. So it's definitely a lot of trust to put into a young bloke. But I think Webby has shown that in the trials that he does have a little bit of trust in him. Thank you, Tahi, as always, jumping in and helping out, moderating all that. Brother, you're incredible. To T Mackie, I agree with Healy, but I feel it would be Lussick. There's definitely a little feeling for me that maybe it is Lussick. And to be honest, I don't think Lussick's played that bad. I think Lussick's been a really strong member. And watching him in New South Wales Cup, going back and playing that every position that you want him to play, I think we need to celebrate those sort of players as well. And I think that he's done a really good job for me in New South Wales Cup in that area. I do think there's times where he takes a little bit of food off the plates of everyone around him too when he gets into that role, because he just is so... I think he must be just some different sort of bloke out there, eh? He just wants to go absolutely hammer and nail in every contest, and he does take a lot of the hit ups off of the front rowers that I know the front rowers, other people will be like, hey, give me some, bro. I want to get into the game. But if we did run with him at 14, we run with him in a 13 jersey, again, I wouldn't be too afraid of it. Obviously that has the ability to fall apart, but watching him in Cup, he actually has done that role not too bad, in my opinion. I wouldn't say it's been incredible, but it's been not too bad. Tans, Ash's Turbo, one big injury away from medical retirement. It's been going on for several years now. If you asked him, I'd say he'd probably say hell fucking no. Just watching him in that game where he did his MCL, just watching how he was turning away trainers left, right, and center and saying, I'm pushing through. It kind of just gives you the outlook of what he's going to do, and he's just going to continue to push for it. Whether the club's going to push him to anything like that, that's a whole different story. But for Tommy Turbo to claim that he wants medical retirement, I think it's going to take a lot more. Honestly, I feel for him so badly because he is such a good player. You guys know how much I rate him. I honestly think he's the best fullback in the league if he's not injured. He's honestly one of the best, and he would have just all the accolades behind him if he was not injured at all. But I think that he's a classy player. He's got an incredible warrior mentality. I don't think he'll call it quits for one more injury. I think he'll always continue to fight it back as much as he can. And that whole family just loves football. So I think that he'll just continue to fight and try to find his way back. It could be to his deficit. He might find himself in different positions coming in forward, like centre. I know there's all the rumours around that, but definitely interesting thought there, Tans. But I see where your head's at, though, because, yeah, you're 100% right. The amount of injuries that man has gone through, I just don't think he would call it quits. That's the biggest thing. He's such a warrior. Well, it's I like Freddie. He won't set the world on fire, but he doesn't really mess up. And that's the whole thing about Freddie, bro. He's just a solid member. People got to remember, he's one of our best trainers at our club. He does everything that he's asked of. He continues to go out there and kill it and kill it and kill it. But obviously, he just doesn't have the skill set to really compete with a Wade Egan or take over those sort of roles. But there is it is a good thing to have players like him at the club. That's the whole thing, and I respect him for sure. It's very similar to a Jackson Ford. Jacko's got a lot of good ability as well. It's not to say he doesn't have ability, but players like that I think should be celebrated probably a little bit more than the crazy big flamboyant players that we have. And I do it as well. I absolutely adore Leka Alasima. Not to say he doesn't have that hard edge or anything like that, because I do think he does. But there's players, obviously, we're well known for players like Simon Mannering, Witt, Cambion, these sort of players that just work fucking tirelessly out there. And I think we should celebrate those players. And I know that if we put him on a jersey, he'll definitely do a job. He wouldn't let us down. I tell you, bro, based on last game, did Grant have too much time to move from marker? I wouldn't say that. I think maybe he got a little bit more indecisive. Either way, you just don't want to give Harry Grant any sort of ability. Like, as soon as Harry Grant sees that you got one marker in the lineup, he's going. Like, there's no doubt about it. He's going to use his speed. He's going to burn that first that A marker, cause that A defender to have absolute fits. And that's what makes Harry Grant special. So, like, too much time from marker. I don't think there's ever too much time for Harry Grant. But sometimes maybe he doesn't have his best game in the world. Like, those are one-off games and stuff like that. But I'm sure coming to this weekend, like, we can't give him a lot of running room or anything like that because he will just tear us apart. And that's the thing about Melbourne. They have just players like this littered across the field. Like, even a guy like Grant Anderson that a lot of people would just say is just a toiler. Like, he's got real underrated speed, really underrated tackle breakability on that edge. He has just those moments in him as well, just as any, Melbourne Storm player has, So I wouldn't say that just yet now. I think they're just warming into the season a little bit too, Tahi, which is actually scary to say because the amount of points that they put on the board, they're just going to get a lot better for the season. Tans, a bit of a champ offering to give Manly back some money out of his salary cap because he was out so much. What was that, man? Bit of a champ offering to give Manly back some money. Yeah. I see what you mean now. Sorry, Tom Trebojevic. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Tans. I was trying to read that going like, what was on, but yeah. Yeah, give back some money out of his salary cap because he was out so much. And that's the thing is, like, he is such, like, Tom Trebojevic, man. You can't say too many good things about him. And even if you say too many good things about him, I think you can say even more good things about him. Like, he just, honestly, he's such a classy player. Manly are so lucky to have a player like that. Obviously unlucky with the injuries that he's had, but just watching him through, like, his under-20s career and stuff. Like, I remember watching that under-20 season just going, like, there is, like, I haven't seen too many players play like this. Like that, like if anyone remembers Greg Marju's season in under 20s where he was under the other name, I can't remember the other name off the top of my head. It was Greg Lalazio, something like that. I'm so sorry for butchering that, but it's Greg Marju. He had that season for the Parramatta Eels on the wing where he was just fucking mental. I hope he can get back to like really good form and hold his injuries and that, but unfortunately, just seeing my track record, it may never happen, which is so sad to say. Tim McKee, Lussick could thrive in that 13 jersey. That Walker did. Willis T, just be a dog out there chasing his bone. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think Lussick would do that for sure. I don't think he'd be doing that for longer minutes. I think we remember seeing that last year in the Sharks game. We did that a couple of times with Lussick, and I don't want to see it for too long. I think Webby puts a cap on it after about 20 to 30, maybe, even if that. But if we do want to spell Wade Egan, there's the ability there for Lussick to come in, or if we want to go, obviously someone into the 13 jersey for Aaron Clark, there's the ability to do that as well. For me, like we're talking about Lussick and stuff, like I kind of just hope we see Healy a little. Like I'd love to see Healy there in 14 because I do think he's jumped him in the hooker rotation. But I wouldn't be sad to see Lussick there, if that makes sense, right? Like, I'd just be like, well, it sucks not seeing Healy there, but obviously Healy's going to take a little bit more time developing in our system. He looks incredible at the moment too. Like, it's good to see, but he is returning from that shoulder injury a couple of weeks ago, so hopefully he's doing well. Tell you, bro, thoughts on the high shots this week? I'm 50-50 on all of it, so there was obviously some high shots that got overreacted by, like with sim binning and stuff. Like I think there was a lot of high shots I saw over the weekend that I think that every weekend in general would be a sim bin. I think that when the media come out and say things like that, it doesn't help. Like you guys know, like sometimes I'll be against the referees or this and that, but sometimes I do think the referees can be set up by the media in a way, which I don't really like, because like the media also turn around and say, don't bash our refs, but they kind of like lay it up on people as well. You know, Buzz coming out in NRL 360 and saying that all high shots are going to get sin binned, which obviously wasn't the case over the weekend. There was obviously a lot more high shots getting sin binned, but they were direct contact, and there was a lot of arguments whether they were or not, but not every high shot was sin binned over the weekend. But when you come out with that in social media, or in media in general, the fan base is obviously going to go absolutely mental, and they're going to start looking for every sort of high shot and then go back to, well, the game's gone soft. It continues to have this argument. Like, Buzz doing that doesn't help anyone. And I'll bet you anything, a club would have came out to use that to their advantage, obviously to ramp up the media around referees. So referees, when they do that, you did see towards the end of the round, they started to go a little bit softer in that area, right? So I think that, for me, there was instances where I was like, oh, that's a bit of a harsh one. But even like, if you end up, I'm not too sure if YouTube's still doing it, but like, I think they still have the live stream up. But if you go watch the Warriors, 30 Years of Warriors on YouTube, there's a lot of high shots that get sin bin and that back in those days as well, that a lot of people would argue these days that weren't high shots, that shouldn't be sin bins and stuff like that. So it's not like it's just been something that's just been brought in over years. Like, it definitely has been changed, the thought of it. But a lot of it has been a lot of media beat up. And I do kind of look back at it now and just think it's a little bit harsh on the referees in that sort of sense, because there was a lot of high shots over the weekend that did need to be sin bin. Obviously, we missed out on one with Jerome Luai over the weekend, and that's what caused the action of what everything happened. So, to be fair, if they sin bin Luai last weekend and there wouldn't have been a press for this weekend about this whole situation, there wouldn't be any outrage over what happened over this weekend, in my opinion anyway, but I could be wrong. But they definitely could clean up, and I think they did try to clean up a lot of those later on in that week. And I think we're pretty lucky that we didn't have to deal with it this week, of that sort of early week high standard of contact to the head, direct contact to the head, you're in the bin. Like, that seemed to got a little bit better towards the end of the weekend, and now going to this week, I'm sure certain referees definitely give or take it. Like, what's his name? Todd Smith, I'm pretty sure, the Ranger referee. Sometimes he can get really into it. Who was the referee for the Dogs game? I'm trying to think of who that guy was, but I don't think he's sin binned too many people, but just the whistle couldn't leave that bloke's mouth. So, yeah, there's certain games that like certain referees will take it to a higher standard, like, but yeah, I think it's it was good for us that got done this week, and we're going to deal with a little bit more of a weekend where I think they're going to go 50-50 on it. So it continues to get better. Tim McKee, Lussick did get smoked by a Bulldogs player when playing in the middle, so I hope it's Healy lol. Yeah, but that's the thing about Lussick, he'll get up and continue to go again. Like, you see blokes get smoked that are freaking twice the size of him anyway. Like, it just happens in rugby league, right? Like, there's always someone bigger out there, and with Lussick, there's a lot of people bigger out there. But you will get got, if especially run hard in the middle. So, yeah, I still hope it's Healy, right? But if it, again, I continue to say, if it is Lussick, then it is what it is. I'm pretty happy with it in general. What's going on, Dominic? Thank you so much for jumping through, guys. Guys, I've probably got 15 more minutes left in me, so if you want to jump in, chuckle your questions in before we go, and we'll continue on. Tans, I tipped 8 Simbas for this week. I know me and Brody, obviously, guys, if you know my channel and Ash Thomas on YouTube, me and Brody did our, was it overs, unders? I think we set that a little bit too low, and your boy put too much trust in the NRL this weekend and said that we'll go under 4.5. I should have known. Like, it was just a dumbest tip, but I think I kind of just wanted to go the opposite side just to be on the opposite side. And obviously Brody won that over the weekend, but yeah, decent amount. But like, I'll be fair, there was like a lot of those where I looked at and went, yeah, I can see sin bin offense there. Like, it was a sin bin last year. I don't think it should have changed in those moments. I think they just need to clean up on certain areas of it. There was some that I kind of thought were like either the level dropped significantly, and like the tackler couldn't really change his level and that quickly in those moments. So, but that will always happen in rugby league. And if you go watch rugby, if you're a rugby union fan, which I know, like, you know, it's controversial to say on a rugby league channel and all that, but you know, you can't even hit across, like, you know, above like your nipple line over there. So, I don't think we're in a bad state there, but it does definitely change games if it went like the opposite way from you. I think a lot of those sides too that end up having bins didn't really give up too much in those periods as well. So shout out to those sides that had to deal with that. Like the Cowboys had to deal with the sin binning in that game from memory, and they still beat the Penrith Panthers, and I think they held out the Penrith Panthers in that period as well. So well done to them. TJ, thank you so much. Also, as you said before, member now. Appreciate you, brother. But yeah, good for the chat here. What do you think of Laban coming to the 17? I was a bit surprised when they chose a forward against the Tigers. They went Bunty over Laban. Yes, I would love to see Laban in our 17. I think the only thing that holds us back from that is Lecker is predominantly an edge back rower and has the ability to play in the middle, but he's predominantly an edge back rower. I think it kind of leans towards, I think Lecker has jumped Laban at the moment in the pecking order of an edge back row at the moment, by the looks of it, just for me. And I probably agree with that a little bit, but I love Laban to bits. I think Laban will have his opportunity mid to late this year. I think he'll continue to do what he's doing in Cup, which is absolutely murdering it. I think we're just in the position now where Bunty was a bit more of a middle coverage, where Laban, people would argue, obviously Laban's big enough to play in the middle, but Laban's an edge back rower. He's always played edge back row. He prefers the edge back row. I think that in that sort of case, he probably looked at his bench and went, so Lecker can cover your edge for Maratini Kode, Catewell, whatever happens out there. Vaimwanga can cover edge, but also he's mainly a middle. Like he grew up playing 13. He's got really good ball playing and all that. He's got the ability to play that 13 rotation there with Aaron Clark. Jackson Ford's going to be a middle to edge cover as well. So we've got middle and edge cover like coming out of our arse there. And Bunty's just going to be our sole middle cover and a bigger body that we have for the middle, where Laban would majority be an edge cover as well. So I think that's the reason why that bench kind of sit the way it did. I do think there's the ability for it to change if we do find maybe Lecker get a starting role over Maratini Kode. Murata goes to the bench as a middle cover, and then maybe Laban can find himself a little bit of minutes off the bench as well as an edge rotational piece. But yeah, I think that's just the reasoning why that happened the way it did, TJ. But I agree with you also to the fact of I think that Laban's an incredible player and we'll see more of him in the future. People just got to remember, I think he's 20 years old now. Lecker's 19. These kids are really, really young. And Webby's doing a good thing by kind of weaning him into first grade, because we still got experienced key members there that are doing a job and kind of just giving them enough time and ability to show what they can do on the first grade stage, but also go back and learn little bits and pieces and not absolutely kill them in first grade. Thomas Kahn over the weekend didn't have his best game of the weekend for the Newcastle Knights, and a lot of Knights fans, obviously were calling a lot of things in chats and stuff. He's still such a young player. These are the things that happen with young players in first grade. It's a washing machine in the middle there. I think Webby's doing a really good job with how he's kind of limiting the young boys and bringing them in over time. And we're getting wins at the moment with what we're doing. So I'm not really complaining in that area, but I think Laban will get his role soon, brother. So just hold on for that one. Dominic, Melbourne have a really good pack, various body size. Yeah, 100%. Alec McDonald, the smaller, but really hardy effort type front rower. Lazarus Vatalepu, a big body in the middle. You got Tui Kamakamitha, that real big juggernaut type of player. Then obviously Stefano Tikamanu, got a really nice play to ball speed, big body. Josh King is that hard worker. He's probably in between the Alec McDonald and the Lazarus Vatalepu. Got a good offload. We got Trent Liero, that's really good foot speed for the middle. It's actually grown in his passing ability. And then you look at their edge back rollers, they've just got so much skill. So you're 100% right. They're definitely going to be a threat this week. Team Mickey, yep, the ringer referee, brother. I could say that because I've got a little bit of ginger in my beard. I hate to say it, but I do have it. So shout out to him. Brethren. Team Mickey, he was one of the infamous. Yeah, well, there you go. Shout out to him. Actually, good referee then. Who do I need to trade in Supercoach for? Watch Thursday night on my channel, brother, for Supercoach, because I am going through my thoughts around trades and I'm doing a lot of deep diving on players and who I want to jump in on. Currently, I think there's players like Reece Walsh are bottoming out. Jermaine Osako is bottoming out on prices. I do see those guys getting back into good form and getting their price rises sometime soon, turning around to big players. Then you got a lot of young players that are jumping into the league now, and there's a lot of cheapies on the market. So there's a lot of different ways you could go, brother, but jump in Thursday night. Dominic, Bunny played well. His work off the ball was pretty good. Yeah, Bunty was incredible. Yeah, 100%. He jumped in with the Bunny. LOL. Yeah, 100%. He's definitely a presence in the middle, old Bunty. But it's good to see him there. It's good to see him fit. Like, he's cut as at the moment. All the boys look fit and ready to go. So we've had a great off season by the looks of it. Whereas, however, damn, we're paying $5 to win, biggest odds out of anyone this weekend. And honestly, bro, like, it's going off of history and like Melbourne Storm, what they've showed this year. I don't kind of fight against that, right? But we love to come in as underdogs, and we perform really well as underdogs. So I think we've got the ability there. It's definitely easier said than done. I think that, like, if I'm completely honest, I think if this game gets played 8 times or 10 times, right, I think we win like 2 to 3 times, and Melbourne probably get the rub on us more so. And they're longer in their journey than what we are. Like, people got to remember too, like, we're going up against a Melbourne side that their spine has been the same spine for probably now 5 to 6 years, right? 4 to 5 years. Each year, no one's stealing their spine rolls. They're like, people say, Jonah Pezzett. No, like, Jerome Hughes is going to get their 7 jersey. Munster's definitely going to be their 6. Harry going to say 9. Papenhuyzen is their 1 if he's ready and fit and ready to go. So you could just know that year in, year out, they're just adding layers to the game. They're 5 years ahead of a lot of those other players. And I think that's what's kind of happening to Penrith at the moment is they've had that spine of Jerome Luai, Nathan Cleary and Dylan Edwards, and their hook obviously Api Koroisau, and then they had Mitch Kenny. But those boys have played together for years and years and years. They're built on that system on top of each other, and obviously adding in Isaiah Yeo to that system as well. Like, when you've taken away Jerome Luai out of that system, there's going to take a little bit of time. There's clunkiness there in moments as well. There's no second fiddle to Cleary at the moment. It's all on Cleary, and other boys got to step up. Like, we're going up against a side that has played with each other for that many years. They're cohesive. They know what they need to do to win football games, and they're so good. So I'd say, like, out of 10 times, we probably only win 2 or 3 times out of those. But we do have the ability to win against the Melbourne Storm. I think anyone has the ability on their day. We just need to play some really good hard edge football and very good footy IQ type football. Kick to corners, kick chase incredibly. Make sure Melbourne attack from their end, not in our try line, on our try line. And we should be able to compete with that side. I really do think so. Well, let's see, got to say, it's nice seeing our juniors coming through. They're bringing the X Factor that we've been missing for a while. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I think that a lot of content creators, or I wouldn't say, like, I don't want to single out content creators or anything, but I think a lot of people are forgetting that what the Warriors are doing now, and it's been, 3 years now on the trot, that we've done something that we haven't done for our whole existence as a club. And it's the same thing, like, when Penrith Panthers went into their junior base and they'd done their junior systems properly, like Phil Gould did that. And we're trying to do that now. Over time, we will produce a lot of these kids that are learning to play rugby league from school level now, and they're learning the system of Andrew Webster at school level. TJ is doing such a good job, TJ Ashford, for our coach and Harold Matz, to teach these boys Webby's system from such a young age. So every time they go up a grade, they know what Webby's system is, and to where it becomes a point where we can, like, put people in and they won't drop off from their performances. We've even seen already in Webby's existence at the Warriors that any junior that he puts into first grade at the moment, they know their role, they play their role effectively, and there's no one that kind of spaced out and doesn't know really what they're doing in those moments, which in other clubs, they've had problems with that before, and they have junior systems as well. So we have the ability to be a juggernaut of a club over time, but it will take time before we get there. And it's because, rugby union has embedded itself in New Zealand for such a long period of time. We're finally getting rugby league in schooling systems. You're getting scholarships. You're getting into Warriors systems really early on at under 15s, under 16s. You're getting in good systems there, and you're actually playing rugby league from such a young age, and you're taking a lot of good talent out of rugby union. We're finally doing that, and we're doing that to the fullest extent, which we've never been able to do in the past. I think that our under 20 system had a feeder base of so many sides, but would miss out on a lot of talent because they couldn't make it to under 20s. They'd go overseas and they'll go play for other under 20 sides, and that's where people get picked up. So we have the ability now, all the way from our under 15s, 16s, to just carry over these kids in big chunks all through our system and become a Warrior. So I think there's more of a chance that we're going to have success over a long period of time. It's just going to take time. So I think that's the biggest thing with us. And I think a lot of content creators have got to remember this as well. We're in early stage of this, but there will become a time where the Warriors, I do believe, if we continue down this path and we continue being consistent and just learning systems and playing good footy, like good IQ type footy, and not old school Warrior footy where it was just fuck it footy majority of the time. We're playing good fundamental football. we'll become more of a consistent side and we'll become a big threat because we know the talent in New Zealand, the skill set, the ability of some of these kids coming through. If you teach them proper rugby league fundamentals from a little boy, they're going to be a lot better than a lot of these other kids there, like, over here in Australia. That's the difference of Australia and New Zealand rugby league, in my opinion. When I was growing up, I chose rugby league over union because where the schools that I grew up at, when I got into my sports academy, was like there was barely any sports academies for union around my area. There's that many for rugby league in my area, and very good ones at that. Where in New Zealand, it's rugby union. It always has been. And it's been a struggle for rugby league to commit in those areas, right? We're starting to, and the rugby league that got played over there. And guys, I hope this is not bashing anyone or anything for Kiwis and stuff over there, but from all the boys that I know, and I know a lot of Kiwi boys that have come over and played footy over here, and they all say exactly the same thing. Old school New Zealand football, all it was going out there and taking heads off. It was just bashing guys. Honestly, bashing guys, a ton of offloads, ton of errors. That's just the way it was. In Australian rugby league, there's a lot of errors and stuff in your junior grades, which is usual, but we learned a lot of like systems, like in under 15s growing up. Like when I was playing at Stanley River, back when I was younger, under 16s, when we made grand final and that, we learnt the Brisbane Broncos system from one of their feeder systems, and we were playing their system all the way going through. And we had players like Aaron Whitchurch at Stanley River make into the Broncos system, stuff like that. And he knew exactly how to play the Broncos system. Like that's just how Australian rugby league works different to New Zealand. And that's why New Zealand rugby union works better than rugby union over in Australia, is because you know technical rugby union better than what we know. So it's just the way that works out. So sorry to go on that tangent, but that's a really great thing to touch on, Willis, because you're 100% right. We're doing very good things in our juniors, and I think Warriors fans should get excited for that in the future. Not just look at our first grade squad and just throw your hands up in the air and say, I'm done with this club because 30 years of no success. Unfortunately, we've had 30 years of just like continuous club, like our higher ups not knowing what the fuck to do, and New Zealand Rugby League not doing anything until we, honestly, I'll be completely honest, till Phil Guild has come over to the club and had a little touch in our club with Sullivan and stuff and said, let's put junior bases into play here. Webby's come over. Robbo's put a lot of money into it. All our boys that finally invested in our juniors and got junior bases up and going. We're going to see that success later on down the time. So get excited for that in the future. But I understand these guys are still learning and still growing. And yeah, that's just where I'm at the moment. But sorry for that tangent, guys. Dominic, yeah, Bunty, the order correct. Toilet inspector, I wonder if the NRL should have been similar to NHL. Would have been player would come back on if the advantage team scores a try while the player is off before the 10 minutes expires. Yeah, maybe that's definitely a thought to be put out there. I don't like changing the game too much, but that doesn't sound too bad in my opinion at the moment, just thinking off the top of my head. But I have to take a little bit of time to think that through. But it sounds pretty good, bro. And the power plays at NHL too. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Mackie. I love the power plays. Love a little bit of NHL action. Tans, what do you think of Trell's return? I thought it was great. I thought Trell is Trell. He's a juggernaut of rugby league. He's one of those people, as it continues, like a Turbo, Nathan Cleary, like we've seen in years past, the GIs, stuff like that, where they're just so imposing. You know that when they touch that football field, it's going to be problems. And as a Queensland fan, every time I see him line up against us in Origin, it just gives me the shakes. I'm just like, bro, this guy can pull, like he can honestly just win this game by himself. Like he is just that good. So good to see him back there. He's still the same old Trell we know, beautiful cutout ball, beautiful soft hands. When he runs the football is when he's like at his most dangerous. And when he took on a couple of those one-on-one margins, or when he got into dummy half and tried to scoot over, we're almost getting over, but shout out to Teddy for saving that try in that moment there too. Like that's where Trell is at dangerous. So dangerous, bro. Tans, dangerous. He's going to be incredible. Dominic, what's the tab paying for Warriors being sent off for Tim Wise? Well, NRL just pointed out that last round, all those headshots should have been in the bin. Another crackdown this week. I don't think there'll be too much of a crackdown this. If you missed out on what my thoughts were on that, bro, a little bit earlier on, I think mid in this live stream, I gave you my thoughts on that. But yeah, I think that it won't get too bad. I did think that we settled down on it towards the end of the last weekend. And I do think that a little bit was a bit more of a media beat up for fans to, like, we did have more sin bins 100%, but I think a lot of it came from outrage of fans as well, to the fact of, like, I think Buzz coming out and said every high shot's going to be a sin bin probably didn't help rugby league as well. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Team Mackie, honestly, if we win, I'll streak the field. Are you in Melbourne, bro? I will hold you to that. Nah, jokes. Don't do anything silly, but yeah, it would be incredible, right? I'll be doing something similar. Tans, that's a really solid point, Ash, and you said it earlier, with his current Warriors side, haven't played the Storm yet, and that makes me feel a lot more optimistic. Yeah, 100%. Like, Webby has said it in his press conferences last year, where a lot of, like, obviously got brought up that Melbourne Storm have the wood over us, and he said, yeah, they had the wood over the sides before, but this is a different side. People got to kind of also really think, coming to every preseason, the rugby league, like Ivan Cleary says it in his book. Like, if you haven't gone and read Ivan Cleary's book, it's an incredible read. Really good to, like, listen from a coach that has won multiple premierships. But after every season, it's like a clean slate. They try to clean slate it and continue on. It's a whole new team, right? That they kind of like take it one season at a time, if that makes sense. And easier said than done, but like, I know Webby's probably very much in a similar boat. Is you take what you learnt from last year, but also understand this is a new season, a new year. So we're a new side. We've got to learn from those moments, but also, reinvigorate ourselves and don't carry the divots of the past. So he always said that against Melbourne is like, when we've been on, don't hold all those years of dominance on the side that we've got right now, because they haven't lived through the years of dominance back in there previously. Only a couple of them have. And now those ones of like Sean Johnson, Tohu and all that, they've all kind of left there. They have been through all those years of just us getting beaten pillar to post. Like, now we've got Luke Metcalf from memory. I think he played one of those Melbourne games, maybe two from memory. There's certain players that have played a couple there, but these guys are fresh. Like, they're fresh kids. Like, Lecca hasn't been beaten by the Melbourne 70-10. Like, he's definitely seen that on the football field, but he's going in fresh thinking that he's going to be the man. So there's a lot of good energy in our side. So I'm really excited to see what we can do. Again, it's going to be harder said than done. Like, I'm not taking anything away. I think Melbourne are an incredible side, and more likely they're probably going to come away with a win at Amy Park at home. But I think we have the ability to take it to Melbourne. I just want to see a good, solid performance out there. I think that's definitely it. Well, right, bro. Next few years, we can definitely win. I definitely hope so, bro. And if not, I'm continuing to ride the bandwagon and just seeing how far we can get. Like, just ride the happy times, be happy, and with the sad times, try to be optimistic to see what next season brings. That's what sport is. And, I'm an Arsenal fan in the EPL. It's been a long time since we won the EPL. It's still probably going to be a little bit more of a long time before they win the EPL, but I definitely watch sport for a little bit more than that, but I think we got the ability in future years to become a juggernaut, just a sleeping giant in a way. And Matt Elliott said it in his podcast with the Warriors Life. So if you haven't got to check it out, guys, Levon's really, very big on it. Go check it out. Never really believed that till recently. Yeah, well, there's been moments where we've looked okay. Like, under Ivan Cleary, we've looked like we built to something like that. Dan Anderson, we built to something like that. But a lot of the higher ups decisions in years preview, as I said before, and even just New Zealand rugby league in general has just never been set up for success since the start. And I think this is what we're trying to fix up on. Like, the Warriors going really good just helps New Zealand rugby league, because obviously you learn great systems from junior base. A lot of these young kids that are coming through our system now are going to play for the Kiwis in the future. Like, if we learn to play good high IQ football right now, like, the New Zealand Kiwis benefit from the future. So I'm really excited to see what happens there. And this is coming from an Aussie, right? Like, if you guys don't know, I'm an Aussie New Zealand Warriors fan. I'm a New Zealand Warriors fan because of Sean Johnson, my favorite player of all time. But like, the Kiwis have never been set up for success. I'm very excited for you Kiwi fans out there, for just New Zealand in general. Like, in future, he's going to definitely take it to the Kangaroos, and especially with all these eligibility stuff, if it does go the way through that it should go, which I'm excited for. I want to see everyone play for their country or heritage and just like represent their family. I'd love to see that. I think that just international footy will take a whole new level. So I I think it's not just like the Warriors going well. I think New Zealand Rugby League's going to go well in the future if we continue to do what we're doing now. Dominic, remember this is the first rebuild year. None of these players have played together for more than 3 matches. A lot of this, like a lot of the spine, obviously, had like different players in those positions. No Tohu and stuff, and no Shawnee. It's 100% it. Like, I think that Webby's done a really good job. I think the whole envisionment of what Webby tried to bring to the Warriors is in that first year, just buy a lot of experienced members, or just keep the experienced members to keep a lot of our juniors down below to continue to work on their system, right? And to fit themselves in that system. And I think year in, year out, we're continuing to buy experienced players to hold these kids back until their right time to jump into first grade. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but Phil Guild has held a whole new thing with the Dogs that he wants players to get into first grade when they're 25. Like Mitchell Woods at the moment is only in high school. I think he's just finishing high school. I think he's like 18, 19. But the envisionment for the Dogs in the future, they will probably hold him back until he's really ready to go. And more than likely, as Phil Good said, it's like you want to be holding these boys back till they're 23, 24, 25. Like, we're already, like, Lecker being 19, doing what he's doing, shouldn't be getting done. Like, it shouldn't be happening. But, a smart football side will hold these kids until a little bit later to where they've learnt the system fully. And when they actually hit and play first grade, they've given the best ability to play out first grade at the highest ability, right? And they understand the system, they do it well. I think this is the closest year now to being a transitional year for the Warriors, to where we've held these young kids back for a long period of time now, where they've learnt the systems and those forwards are doing it. We got to hold on to a little bit of our spine players that we're trying to build in our junior grades, so when they jump up, they can steer these kids around in the future too. So I think we're in that sort of phase right now with the Warriors, and I just hope fans can stick with us and stick with the whole run. And obviously winning helps, what we're doing right now helps, but I think people just got to understand this is going to take time, and there's going to be ups and downs this year. Like, more than likely we might lose to the Melbourne Storm. I'd love to see us win and be incredible, but if we do lose, I hope people don't just chuck out everything we've done to start off the season, or all the stuff we're doing in our junior grades that are helping the Warriors for the future, and why Andrew Webster's been such a good thing for the club, not just because he got us to a top 4 in 2023, but for the systems that he's put into all our junior grades and New Zealand Rugby League in general. So that's where I'm sitting with. And I would kind of wish the NRL did more in that area to kind of show off junior grade footy, stuff like that, to show people as Warriors fans, the fans as an organisation, of how good these kids are doing. Like, our New South Wales Cup team is on top of the competition right now, New South Wales Cup, and dominating New South Wales Cup, right? With a lot of good juniors. Our Harold Matt's team is playing incredible footy as well. I'm going to put it up now, see what's the ladder after the weekend. I'm pretty sure because Newtown got beat over the weekend. We're still like leagues above on the ladder. It's not loading up right now, which is great. But yeah, those sort of areas. We're 4 wins, no losses, and we're just like killing it in New South Wales Cup. And other big systems in New South Wales Cup, like the Dogs, they're 10th position right now, 2 and 3. Like, we're doing really good things right now. So I hope people get excited at that sort of aspect. All right, guys, I'll pretty much be finishing it there. Anything more I want to touch on here? Tons. What does the 43 on your hand mean? That is an area code. So I didn't grow up in a 4-3. I grew up in 4-5. So I'm a north side boy in Brisbane. But I had a really close mate of mine that his brother passed away, unfortunately, committing suicide. So I was really close with him, and then unfortunately, he's kind of gone off the rails a little bit, and I haven't heard from him in years. But those boys are from Ipswich, so if you know like Lissy, the rapper Lissy, and all that sort of stuff, I know a lot of my boys are from Southside, so. The 4-3 was mainly for him. It's the reason why I got the Joker on my arm too, because when I was growing up, like my mum, when she had breast cancer, and obviously she's going through it again, which like most of you guys know, like I was bullied in high school, and I tried to hurt myself in high school. So it hit home for me, having one of my closest boys. Unfortunately, I don't talk to too much anymore, but yeah, he was big in the 4-3, so yeah, he got the 4-3 on his arm. I got the 4-3 on my hand, and unfortunately, yeah, we don't speak anymore. But the joke was like a envisionment of like obviously Heath Ledger, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. There's a long story to it, but gonna get me all teary and stuff. And obviously, like all the island designs, as you guys know, like my bro was like he was Samoan, but my wife's Samoan. Got a lot of family down there, and yeah, shout out to all them. Human Passport. Evening, everyone. Good points, Ash. Looking forward to the Young Guns against the Melbourne Storm. I was a big Arsenal fan till the family team Brentford got promoted. Yeah, shout out to Brentford, doing incredible things. Thomas Frank, incredible manager there at Brentford, and even losing players like Ivan Toney and that, absolutely killing it. And last of all, let's see, Redbank Plains. Yeah, I had some boys there from Redbank and stuff, but yeah, shout out to them. Yeah, these boys are from Ipswich, so shout out to Ippy. But yeah, I'm a Beachmere boy through and through, 4510. But yeah, I've definitely got love for the boys down there, so yeah, shout out. T Mackie, that's a beautiful story, brother. My tattoo story is I got drunk in Toronto, ended up yeah, I wish I could. I'd throw up my leg and show you my leg tat. I've got like I got a Samoan leg design from my Mrs. Little Brother, where we're just like one night just going, hey, let's just like do my leg. And so I got Ainga on the back of my leg for family, and just a whole lot of like, obviously patterns that mean that story of me being with the family and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I love the family. I love my family, my wife's side and my side, like my family in general, my Ainga. So yeah. But all right, guys, it's going to get very soapy real quick. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you so much for all our members jumping in. And guys, if you want to support the channel through our membership and stuff, feel free. We're not pushing anyone towards it. But if you guys jump into the membership program down below, our join, we got our reserve grade or our first grade sort of program. I think our first grade gets us a WhatsApp chat, so you get to talk to us personally week in, week out. And then obviously you get the Monday shows here, guys, where you can jump in and get all your comments there. I know, obviously, when we get to our Tuesdays and further shows, that there's so many comments, so many chats, that we wanted to do this Monday show so you guys can have all your time where you can chat with us one-on-one and get all our thoughts. But I appreciate this. It's always amazing from my end. I love doing this sort of stuff and chatting with you guys. We will be on tomorrow night. No Levon still, guys, as I said before. Josh will be jumping on with us. And we'll be definitely touching on the team list, things to get excited for going over against Melbourne Storm this weekend. Let's hope the boys can get an amazing weekend. But thank you so much, guys. Hope you have a great night. Appreciate all you out there. Up the Waz, baby. Up the Waz. Let's go.